Hi, welcome to this video on indices where it is negative. So these indices are actually going to turn into a fraction, and this is why. We should all know that 2 squared is equal to 4. 2 to the power 1 is equal to 2. 2 to the power 0 is equal to 1. So here, every single time, I'm dividing by 2. So if I was to follow this pattern down and do 2 to the negative 1, and I divide that by 2, that turns it into a fraction of 1 over 2. If I carried the principle on and I did 2 to the negative 2, and I divided by 2 again, that would give me 1 over 4. Well, 4 is 2 squared. So you can see where the relationship is starting to come with here, in that this goes under here. So if we go to some actual questions that you'd like to get, so let's take 3 to the power of negative 7. First thing you want to do is 1 over. Okay, this negative is making it a fraction. Then you do the 3 to the power 7 underneath. Now that could be where the question is actually asking you to stop. Alright, because it could say it wants you to give this in index form, of which that is it. Alternatively, it might actually ask you to evaluate it, so that's the index form. Or it might actually ask you to evaluate it, in which case it becomes 1 over 2,187. Now the chance of them asking you to do that without a calculator is slim. Okay, they're not going to expect you to do 3 to the power 7 in your head. That is excessive. Let's take another one then. So let's do 4 to the minus 2. Something we could do without a calculator. Step 1, write it in its index form. So 1 over, and then 4 squared. If I want to evaluate that, that would actually become 1 over 16. It would work the same with letters. Obviously you can't evaluate, but if we take z to the power of minus 3, again, I can only write this in index form. I can't evaluate it yet unless they were to tell me what the value of z was. So this would become 1 over, that's your negative bit dealt with, and then z cubed. If they were to then turn around and tell you that z was 2, you could then evaluate it, but they haven't. And that is really it to do with negatives. So the negatives turn it into a fraction, and that's the key bit of information. They're not going to ask you to do something like this in your head. You would have a calculator to help you. Okay, in that instance you could just type 3 to the power of minus 7 and you'd get the same answer. So they could be a little sneaky and they could ask you to go in reverse. So they might turn around and say, write this in index form with a negative indice. So again, you go in reverse. So we know that if it's 1 over, that means it's going to be a negative with my indice. This section is telling me what that indice is going to be. So this is going to be the indice. This is going to be the base number. So 1 over 6 to the power 7 is 6 to the power of negative 7. Now they could go a step further and say 1 over 2a. It's not a problem. Still a negative power. The power here is the number 1. And then 2a. I'm going to put it in brackets. The reason I'm going to put it in brackets is because all of that was on the bottom. Okay. The last step they might do is to make you do this, but write it in a different way. So they could say 1 over 4 squared, but you have to write it as 2 to the power something. And obviously 4 isn't 2 to the power something at the moment, is it? But I could write that as 2 squared, because 4 is 2 squared, squared. In which case, I've actually got 2 to the power of 4 on the denominator of that fraction. So up here, I would have 2 to the power of negative 4. That is quite high level. Okay, these are the ones you need to focus on. Good luck. Let me know if you have any issues.